back, listeners, to the BizBlend podcast, where business meets real stories, raw insights, and the brilliant minds and hearts behind bold ventures. I'm your host, Sana, and today we are going to dive into a unique intersection of tradition and tech, passion, and programming. Joining us is a guest who saw a problem not in the boardroom, listeners, but in the barn. A trained software engineer who married into a horse loving family, he turned a casual breakfast conversation with his wife into a powerful SaaS tool for the equine world. Yes, you heard it right, listeners. From scribbled whiteboards and fading notebooks to scalable record keeping in the cloud, HorseRecords.info is now helping horse owners, breeders, and trainers keep their operations sharp, secure, and the most important, stress free. And today we uncover how this idea took shape, the lessons learned in bridging two very different worlds, software and livestock, and what it really takes to build a tech product for a niche market. So, listeners, please welcome my lovely guest, Andy Ide. Andy, welcome.
Hey, g'day, Sana. How you going? Hello to your listeners. How are you all?
Oh, wonderful. We all are wonderful, Andy, and thank you so much for joining. I'm definitely so much looking forward to our conversation because it starts with such a lovely, such a personal story and motivation. So, if you would like to please share, describe that moment with us, when your wife asked you to just code something for our horses.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a software engineer. I'm a city boy. I grew up in the city, and I married a horse girl. Um, and what a lot of people don't realize when you married a horse girl, you basically marry the horses as well. So, so we were, obviously living together, and one day my wife got really frustrated. With the fact that the notebooks she'd meticulously kept for 10, 15 years, she'd lost some and some are just physically degraded. You pick them up and they go. I mean, do you know where your school books are from when you're at school, and are they any good? Are they degraded? And she knew a whiteboard that she had in the barn was only good for a snapshot at time. And she said to me, "Hey, Andy, can you just code something online so I can log into a website and enter in my horse information, when the farrier came or when they've had their dentist or when the vet came, what drugs were given to them or what their vaccinations are."
Okay.
And I built that for our stud. So a stud in Australia is like a ranch. In America, it's a working farm with horses. So I built that for our stud. We ran it for a few years. It worked well. And then my wife said, "Hey, why don't you make it available for everyone?" So I built Horse Records knowing that not everyone was a 30 horse Australian stock horse stud. Um, yeah, you've got obviously racing, you've got dressage, eventing, camp drafting, you've got rodeo, you've got reining, you got endurance, which is the marathon runners of the horse world. Um, you've got people using horses for therapy. You've got cowboys and stockmen using horses for work of mustering cattle and stuff. So I built it to be customizable to whatever discipline or whatever breed um, the member or user is using. And yeah, that's where we are today. 4 years on, just over 4 years. Horse Records is available worldwide. Obviously, I've got a lot of customers in Australia. Um, Most of the rest are in New Zealand and America, and I'm currently expanding to the US and to Europe a lot at the moment. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. That's, often, whenever we talk about building something in the business world, it's always, yeah, we have to identify the pain points or the
Mm.
problems. We build things for love and necessity, but
Mm.
few take that next step. So when you started, when you created Horse Records, you were in that journey. What were the initial challenges that you faced? Because it's a niche,
Yes.
especially when you were not familiar with the industry yourself much.
No.
Just assuming. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I mean, my wife was very familiar with stock horses in Australia. The stock horse is the working horse in Australia, much like the quarter horse in America. The stock horse is the one you see in movies, uh, Australian movies and, Commonwealth Games and stuff like that. She knew the stock horse world, but, there's every other breed kicking around. Um, I think for my particular thing, I was following the build a minimum viable product thing that I read everywhere, the MVP, and I realized that that wasn't necessarily correct advice for my industry. So I guess what I'm saying is depending on where you're at, the MVP concept is not necessarily appropriate. The reason is horse people are quite practical. Um, hey, they clean out stables. The horse doesn't care what your mood is, doesn't care whether you've slept or anything. It still needs to be fed. It still needs a vet when it needs a vet, regardless of how you're feeling. And so for that reason, I actually built beyond the MVP. It was roughly middle of 2020, which is COVID year. I was ready to launch, and my wife said, "Oh, what about this feature? What about this feature?" And I'm going, "Well, technically, it's not MVP, but I built it anyway." And then I launched in May 2021. So I guess what I'm saying to your listeners is the whole MVP sort of isn't always applicable. Sometimes you want your first customers to actually have a pretty good product. So yeah, just take that MVP stuff with a grain of salt. And also that iterate often and break things. To me, that's crazy talk. You know, build a feature that works and launch it and test it and then launch it so your customers don't have something broken. And to me, there's sort of a bit of an ego about, oh, we're moving so fast, we're breaking things. I think that's silly. I think what you should do is actually test what you develop and put out something as far as you know has no bugs because we're professionals here, not gung ho wannabe heroes. So that, that's just a little bugbear of mine, son. Or sorry, that slipped in.
Yeah, that's practical. That's practical.
Yeah.
And that's on the ground, at the grassroots level type of insight.
Mm.
uh,
Yeah.
that we as professional, because we are putting our expertise into our experience into it,
Mm.
and to instill the trust of our customers, that too at such an early stage in the initial years of our company or product. I think what's something we should put out should definitely work. Then based
I
on,
think so.
yeah,
Yeah, look, when you release stuff, realistically, there's bugs, but the point is, you don't purposely put out half done stuff. You want your customers to know, oh, this new feature will actually work. So, so yeah, that school of move fast and break things. Yeah, good luck, fellas. It'll carry on. Keep earning money.
hmm. Yeah, I agree, Andy. And Andy, so talking about horse records, it's only just not about storing data. It's also about, because this is a traditional industry. There's a lot of
Mm.
legacy and sentiments and emotions involved here.
Yes.
And it's also for reducing mental clutter.
Mm.
So how did you balance both of the technical aspect and the emotional or the practical needs of your users?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I guess the emotion I'm trying to sell to my customers is effectively quiet confidence. Um, Record keeping is a chore, it's administration, it's something no one wants to do. It's kind of work, but
Mhm.
you have that ethical obligation to your horse to keep its health records. Just like you would never go to a doctor and not know if you're allergic to penicillin. If the vet comes and says this horse has had a cut, I'm going to give it penicillin, you have to know it's allergic to penicillin, and horses can be allergic to penicillin, by the way. Um, so I think that sometimes customers, they get worried or anxious about the fact that they're not recording their information. So I'm trying to push the fact that there's a calmness and a clarity um, to knowing all the information is recorded. Um, and sort of the way that I try and balance that is I try to make it as easy as possible. I'm coding a few features at the moment that will use some AI to try and make it even easier. Um, but yeah, all along the way, I've made it as easy as I can and as customizable as I can. I don't force customers to record information the way that I want them to. This is what I want you to do. These are the events you've got. No, customers can create event types. So if they have a horse chiropractor come, they can get that done. If they got a body worker, which is like massage for horses, they can enter that as an event type. They can enter what they like. Obviously, I give them some standard ones to help them, but
Mm.
standard ones that every horse has, but that they can add their own. So I would hope that that would make the chore of recording information about your horse that you kind of have to do ethically as easy as possible. So they can get back to doing what they love, which is riding their horse. Like that's what they want to do. You got a horse, you want to ride it. Like that's the story, and everything else is sort of sundries to that. Um, as a business owner, you could sit down and work all day, every day, but if I look just from building a business, you for me, the key has always been sustainability, and you need to be able to continue the effort. I mean, success is a staircase, it's not an elevator. Very, very, very rarely do you get discovered and have the big wins or the lotto win or something like that. The way most businesses succeed is every day they do something towards their goal, another step towards their goal. Every now and then they might get a windfall gain, they might get a grant come in, they might get, some big customer call them, but most of the time that doesn't happen. So you really need to build not to win those gambling big wins. You really need to build in a sustainable way to be able to keep that sustained effort every day. So that means getting your rest, setting your boundaries of time when you're working on the business, not taking a call at midnight if that's not your business idea. Like if someone calls me at midnight about horse records, they can wait till the morning. I'll call them back. So yeah, sort of that work-life balance, I think is the sustainability that you're looking for, and sustained effort will beat these glorious once-off wins all the time. The problem is all you ever see is the big wins, on TV, on shows like that. You just see "Oh, I battled through a singing competition and then I become the winner." And then, my career is set. And yes, for that one person is, but for the 19 others in that cohort who are singing for their lives, it doesn't happen like that. They have to go back to the grind. So you need to be aware of that survivorship bias in the stories that you read and see and are told on things like TV and, "Oh, I know someone who won the lotto and, their life is set." Yeah, okay, but can you repeat it? No, you can't. Can you repeat working every day a little bit towards your goal to achieve what you want? Yes, you can. You can do that every day. So yeah, success is a staircase, not an elevator.
Yoga. That's such an important aspect you mentioned, especially about entrepreneurship, because um, the hustle culture, the tiredness, the frustration. I don't know, but it's like these are all like were worn as badge of honors. Uh, if you as an entrepreneur, if you look like, oh, I'm relaxed, I'm happy, then people will think, ah, he or she, they're not building anything, they're just doing it for fun. So that's
Yeah.
surface level, kind of a judgmental kind of thing.
Yeah, and I've been there, Sana. Like,
Mm.
your listeners need to understand I've been there. I've had a big feature. I've launched it. I've sat there 2 days later wondering why no one's using it. I've reported on the socials, I've sent out newsletters, no one's using the new feature. I've sat there going, "What am I doing wrong?" And I guess a corollary, an addition to that is the fact that there's things you can control and things you can't. And the sooner you find peace with the fact that you can't control some things, I think the better you are. It's like you can't control the cards that are dealt to you in a card game. What you can control is how you play those cards. So, you can't control COVID, right? Which killed a lot of businesses. And actually, the global financial crisis in 2008 killed my first business, which was a web design company.
Mm.
What you can control is how you play the cards you're dealt. So you just need to focus on the cards you've got in your hand rather than getting all upset with the ones that you are dealt. Um, you, you sort of you got to work with what you can control because trying to consider what you can't control, it's a road to ruin. It's wasted energy.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And Andy, you obviously, I mean, SaaS and that to niche, both of these they are a very tricky combination. That to now in the world of AI, when people are now moving forward from SaaS to AI, um, and what do you make of all these super rapid transformations happening in the tech world? Everybody is trying to jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
Right. Everything is AI. What is
Well, you you've got me on a soapbox. I'm just going to climb on my soapbox here. So if you just hold back, I just got to step a couple of bits right on the soapbox now. So I'm turning 50 in November, so I'm much older than I look. I mean,
Oh, you don't look like all the listeners, you don't look like.
so I was around when the internet was getting going in the 90s, late 90s. I remember using the internet at university in the early 90s and then, yeah, the real internet in the late 90s and 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
To me, AI is like that. It's got the same feeling, just we're right at the beginning. Um, I really want to see AI get into robotics, and I really want to have AI stop creating music and pictures and poems, and I want it to create a robot that can clean my house.
Okay.
I, wa- I want a robot, a drone that can scan my paddock for weeds and then spot spray every weed. That's what I want. We haven't got that yet, but yeah, we're making images and movies and stuff like that. I think with AI, for your listeners, the way it stands at the moment, so we're in the middle of 2025. The robots haven't taken over the world yet. There's no Terminators running around. Um, I see AI as a tool. We used to hit nails with rocks, and now we've got hammers. Um, but if you hammer in a nail, you still check that you've done it. So I think the biggest thing for AI, and it is amazing. I was coding some stuff with AI this morning,
Okay.
and I looked at it and went, "That I don't know how it got that result from what I gave it. It just hallucinated in exactly the right way and almost was magical." It was really, really amazing, what it had provided. Of course, I put the same prompt in again and got a totally different answer that was nonsensical. So my guide to your users is, at this point, treat AI as a tool, a very good one, but recognize you must check everything it does, and you can't necessarily trust it. And those people who are AI haters generally have got burnt on that trust thing or don't realize new tools come along all the time. Yes, the printing press put scribes out of business. The car put wagons out of business. AI, I think, probably have put programmers out of business. burst up. So yeah, my time's numbered, son. My days are numbered, son. I want to know how long I have a job for.
Uh, that was quite a different turn. But uh, no, I mean, of course, if one door closes, then definitely there will be
Yes.
so many other doors opening as well.
Well, you still need someone to write the prompt, and
Exactly. That's
that's
the
the thing.
that's the thing.
Some people don't think that way. Some people are my cousin, awesome artist. He's written things. He's done the things in the Tolkien book, the Tolkien calendar. He's published books of his art. Could he ever program a computer? No, no, because he doesn't think that way. Can I ever do the art he does? No, because I don't think that way. Someone's still got to write the AI prompt, and I assure you, it's probably not middle management. So yeah, if you're scared of your job, don't be. I don't think we got too much to worry about AI. It'll just change some businesses, and yeah, just keep on your toes about it. I think.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this I think every different decade and yeah,
Mm,
obviously decade will have this kind of um uh, big huge transformations, human transformations we have had with the industrial revolution. Then the internet came into, the
mm.
computers came in, the calculator.
Phones,
We have
phones.
oh, exactly.
2008, I think 2007, I think the iPhone was released. Can you think
Oh,
of the world now without phones?
no,
Like,
not at all.
wow. Yeah. You used to have to actually physically, if there was a girl you were trying to hang out with, you had to call them up on the handheld and talk to their parents for a while. I mean, how
Yeah.
scary is that?
Uh, those were the times.
Those were the days, yeah.
Oh, goodness, goodness. And I'm really fortunate enough to enjoy the times before the computers and the internet, and during the transformation and after the transformation as well.
Mm, mm.
Anyway, Andy, so yeah, before we wrap up, uh, do you have anything, any advice? Maybe it's a life advice or a business advice, especially for all the early stage entrepreneurs. Fast,
Yes. Oh,
yeah.
I've got a couple of points I've written down, Sana. I've
Mm,
mentioned a few others in our chat, but there's a few that haven't come up. The first one is this is from personal experience. So I thought horse records would just go to horse owners and horse businesses. So as like a B business to consumer, a B2C type
mm,
business. And then after my first year, I got a link networking talking to the racing authority in my state, the racing body, Racing SA, and they run an off the track course for retired racehorses. And what happens is a racehorse will race till they're about 4 or 5, and then they're not competing anymore, and the trainer will sell the horse on. And a lot of people will buy those retired racehorses and train them for another career, like dressage or eventing or showing or even trail riding, even show jumping, all of those types of events. So what I was able to do was to able provide horse records to those people who are buying an off the track racehorse. So the Racing South Australia, Racing SA was able to offer my product as an extra to the people, along with some other companies, like they get a rug and some feed and stuff, to to follow their ethical guidelines of ensuring that retired racehorses do indeed have a good career. I mean, there's a story of a racehorse retiring and getting sent to the doggers for horse meat because they're useless, but they're not. They can actually have a really fulfilling life. Some of them live till they're 30, 35, doing other things. So my advice to customers, to your listeners, is you might be a B2C business, but see and think and broaden your mind and see if there's some business to business collaborations you can have. And what happens with those is they're hard to get, their work. They take time, but once they're done, they're usually kind of forever. And often that business is selling your product for you. So I now have collaborations with a couple of states in Australia. So Racing SA, which legitimately is one of the smallest states, Racing Queensland, which is one of the biggest states population wise with lots of horses. And I also have a collaboration with Barrastock, which is Australia's leading horse feed company. So I promote their products, they promote me. And I also have a collaboration with Dr. Logan in New Zealand, who's released a online equine first aid product. So any customer using horse records, I say, hey, learn equine first aid, which is that important hour you've got while you're waiting for the vet where you can look after the horse. So that's one thing. Look beyond B2C and try and see B2B because that's where you can get other people selling for you.
Mm,
Um, and my last advice, this comes from a number of my first business was a website design business. And then I moved into programming and then I moved into horse records. But you need a way to have regular income. What would happen in my website design business is in January and February, I would have no cash flow because accounts people would just be on holiday and they'd hold off paying accounts. And people aren't thinking about new work in January because Christmas has just happened, etc. It's the same around Chinese New Year. The whole country shuts down for 2 or 3 weeks around Chinese New Year. Um, that sort of thing. The solution to that is to have some sort of product you've got where customers pay regularly, automatically. Automatically is important, automatically every month. So some sort of maintenance product or something. So if I had my web business, I wish I'd had a web maintenance product or I charged hosting regularly. Back then I wasn't savvy enough to do that. So my suggestion for you is find something that you can charge people regularly and automatically for so that your cash flow doesn't dip in those months where it's a little bit quiet for new business coming in. Yeah, I hope that helps your listeners, Sana. Yeah.
absolutely. Now, to me, uh, these are, I mean, apart from the regular ones, these are very um, laser focused insights, especially both the points that you mentioned, because um, uh, diversification and we yearn for stability as entrepreneurs. Or we cannot always think that, okay, it's okay to have 2 or 3 months of no cash flow, because we need that. We
You
did.
need money. You need money coming in. I mean, look, we go into business to make money generally. That's one of the major reasons, if not the top one, whether we like it or not. Obviously, we go in to help people and help horses and whatever, but yeah, money keeps it going.
Absolutely, absolutely, Andy. Absolutely. Those are two brilliant ones. I'm going to have these two ingrained in my minds.
Oh, get a tattoo.
Exactly. And especially the B2B and the B2C, because I have, in my career, I've worked in B2C industries. So having those partnerships and collaborations, strategic partnerships, they really work both from the marketing and the cross promotion point of view, if we talk in technical terms.
Yes, certainly. Yeah, the cross promotion, like every equine first aid course that gets sold gets a Horse Records voucher. And I like I push the first aid on my vitals tab where you can enter in the horse's heart rate and their breathing rate and their, body condition. I say, oh, here's a first aid button. Click there, get a course. And the same with Racing SA, they can show to, let's face it, the government that they're fulfilling their ethical obligations. And so everybody's winning here, which is great. But that's probably another one. Any collaboration, everyone has to be winning, otherwise it won't. be sustainable. If someone's getting ripped off over time, they'll get upset, um, and the deal will fall apart. So everyone has to win in these collaborations. So I'll often legitimately ask the people I'm trying to collaborate with, "Hey, what do you get out of this? How are you making money on this?" Um, and it's often quite direct, and it's an almost it's unexpected question. But then they say, we're doing this, or we have to by legislation, or hey, I promote you, you promote me. That's great. Um, yeah, so that's a freebie your listeners have got. They've got a freebie out of me, Sana.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's more than generous, Andy. Golden. It's golden. This is something I quite often have so many discussions with Avik. That not only through podcasting, but also through different platforms, collaborating, partnering, sponsoring. I mean, we can definitely get the word out.
Mm,
So that's the great one. Secondly, the other one, as you mentioned, that we should be having a regular income. I mean, it can be subscription, it can be something recurring. So
mm,
very, and especially in these uncertain times, from all the aspects, it's
yeah.
time of uncertainties. Right.
Oh, it's like, yeah, I mean, COVID is the obvious one, which I think shook up a lot of businesses. Everything shut down worldwide for several months. And yeah, I mean, the global financial crisis was the one that was killing me. I remember my website business, like my inbox is kind of my to do list. And I logged on the first time in 8 years. I had no emails, I had nothing, there was no work. My two biggest customers that were 80% of my business had dropped their work from, you know, uh, dropped it by 90% down to 10% of what they would normally give me. So my business had just crashed for nothing I could control. But if I'd had those regular income from subscriptions, I would have been able to muddle through, but I didn't, and I had to go and find a job and work for salaried for a few years. But I guess in some ways, the silver lining was that is I did learn a lot when I was salaried. Um, I didn't have the pressure of fault chasing invoices and stuff. And yeah, I guess it made me better, but yeah, it was painful. It hurt, but it was good for me in the end, in hindsight. But at the time, it wasn't fun at all.
I know. Ah, has been really life changing for each and everyone on this planet.
Mm, yeah.
Ah, great. Sandy, if my listeners they would like to connect with you
Mhm.
and learn about horse records and get some more golden nuggets from you, what will be
Yeah.
the best?
Yeah. Um, my website is HorseRecords.info. So you can go there. If you've got horses, you can put a horse in for free and try my software out and see if I'm any good. And if you like it, the plans start very cheaply. Price of a McDonald's burger will get you the lowest plan, and yeah, it steps up from that depending on how many horses you got. I'm happy to hop on a Zoom call with people to help their stud get set up or their ranch get set up. And also, if you run horse events, I'm expanding my sponsorship program at the moment. So if you run horse events, drop us a line, and I can see if I can get some gift cards to you for your members to sponsor whatever horse event you're doing. So yeah, happy to have a chat. So it's horserecords.info.
Absolutely. I'll make sure to have the links and details in the show notes. And
Cool.
Ali, um, this was a conversation, uh, we felt that love for horses, to coding, to the world of entrepreneurship, to how uh, certain things we should be wary about. And this conversation, this episode definitely reminds us that innovation doesn't always come from the book. boardrooms or Silicon Valley. So thank you so much.
No worries, Sana. Thanks to your listeners. I'm waving to you now, so if you could wave back through the microphone, that'd be great. Oh, there you go. Thank you. I will catch you all later.
Yeah, absolutely. And to all the listeners out there, thank you so much for being a part of the BizBlend podcast. Um, if you are tuning in and wondering how your own small idea might scale, I would love to say that great businesses they often begin with simply listening and solving one problem really well. So until next time, I'm your host Sana. This is BizBlend, where ideas meet execution and stories and journeys inspire strategy. Don't forget to subscribe and share. And thank you to everyone.